Hello and welcome to our presentation about Eco Warriors Unite. Today we want to show you how you can combine Minecraft, Power Platform and other Microsoft tools for sustainability purposes. Before we start, let's quickly introduce the speakers. So you start first, please.
Okay, so hello, my name is David, I'm 10 years old and I'm a student at Gymnasium Veitshöchheim in Germany.
Okay, and my name is Ludwig. I'm a technical specialist working for Microsoft Germany. If you have questions later on, you can reach us here via this email or via this website. Before we start with the Minecraft adventure on sustainability, let's have a short look at our agenda. First, we will give you an introduction in sustainability terms and regulations. Why? Because that might be important in your country or area and something you can take home and apply there. Second point will be, we will give you a status of our planet and how we are doing in terms of sustainability. Then David will show you a Minecraft-based sustainability learning. And finally, at the end, we will have a look at an e-liability sustainability accounting approach that you can implement in your ERP system. Okay, that's enough for the introduction. Now let's switch to Minecraft education and have a look.
Okay, now we are here in our Minecraft education main screen. And this is the main screen. On the right you can see our playing character. Now it's an astronaut, but there are many other playing characters. And let's simply click on play. And then you can see the world selection slide. So in the library there are already generated worlds and we already made a world for this presentation. So let's simply click on view my worlds. And this is our world. It's called Dynamics Mines 1. And let's play. So in the middle of the screen you can see some tips and how much the terrain is built. Yeah. Oh, that was fast. Now it must load the resources. Okay, so now we are in our classroom. And this is you can find 4 teachers in this classroom. So teacher 1, teacher 2, teacher 3 with assistant, and teacher 4. Okay, so let's go to teacher 1 and I press talk. Okay, now you can see our pop-up screen and there are several buttons below, and behind every button there's a link. So I can show you this in the world builder mode. And this is something like the edit mode. So now you can edit this thing. And let's go to advanced settings, then you can see the links behind the buttons. Okay, let's go back out of World Builder and click the first button, Climate Laws. Okay, so now you can search climate laws in some countries. So let's say Germany. That is Germany. Then you can see some laws about climate.
Yeah, so every country has different regulation when it comes to climate and sustainability. And if you want to find something specific for your country, this website is a good starting point.
Yeah, so the next button is the CSR risk check. And if you have a company and want to know some risks in a specific country, you can check out this website. Okay, so let's start to check. Okay, first select product or service. So let's say shoes. Shoes. Okay, there we have it. Footwear and shoes. Go to next step. Country. Let's say Indonesia. Okay, there it is. And then let's view your result in English. Okay, so in Indonesia there's a big risk of taxation and corruption, and there are also many other things.
Okay, and this is important if you operate in Europe and have to apply supply chain regulations that you find in different countries like Germany, UK, France, and so on. Okay, David, what is next?
Next we have our EU Green Deal. This is your part.
Yeah, the European Green Deal is just a framework for the regulations that we have around sustainability in the European Union, so you can find information on that to get started. And if you navigate back, we have 2 more pages. These European Sustainability Reporting Standards, they are issued by this organization called EFRAG. They issue these standards and they define what kind of information you have to report. So this is something that is highly recommended to check it out. And then the last thing from my side is the Greenhouse Gas Protocol, which gives you details of what to report on in terms of CO2 emissions and other things for this specific standard called Greenhouse Gas Protocol. We will come back to this later on. But now, David, back to you for the last point here.
Okay, at the last point we have the Global Sustainability Index, and almost every country in this world is ranked in here. So let's search for Germany. There it is. Germany is on rank 6, and let's see if we can find I think Sweden is good. Sweden. Wow, Sweden is ranked on the place 1. So, and here you can see why Sweden is ranked like this. And there's also a report below. Yeah. Okay, that was it with teacher 1. He just told us about regulations and rules in several countries. And now let's go to teacher 2. He will show us more about the current status of our planet. So first we have the IPCC reports. That stands for Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. And they always make a report. So let's click on here.
This panel or organization, they have different kind of reports. One is the synthesis report, and they issue every couple of years the combined research from climate researchers all across the globe. And if you want to learn more about sustainability, this is really a deep dive website where you can learn the latest and the newest research on sustainability.
Yeah.
Let's go back. What else do we have?
We have the SDG tracker. Those are the Sustainable Development Goals, and there are 17 goals, which are listed here. And so let's click on the first one, no poverty. And then you can see here a map. Let's make it bigger. Okay. And then there's the timeline where you can see how the poverty is shrinking. So actually now it's shrinking. If you see in the 1990s, many countries in this world were very poor, but now you can see the poverty is actually shrinking, which is good, but there's still extreme poverty in Central Africa. Yeah. Now we have the CO2 budget on our list. Let's click on that. So if we want to have a 2 degrees warmer scenario, we have 22 years left until the whole world is until there are no emissions. Yeah. And if we want to have a 1.5 degree scenario, like the Paris Agreement, we have 5 years left until the whole world is there are no emissions of CO2. Yeah. Okay. Next we have the greenhouse gas stats, and I think there's an animation somewhere there. Yeah. So let's play it. Here you can see the year. Here the map of the world, and there the months. Here is the equator, the emissions on the equator. Here's the North Pole, here's the South Pole, and actually if we just skip a bit, you can see the most emissions are actually made in the northern hemisphere, so Europe and US. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see how the emissions, as time progresses here, you can see how the atmospheric CO2 emissions, measured in parts per million, how they increase. Currently we are really at a dramatic state, so there's something to do for us. Okay, what else do you have?
We have our greenhouse. There we were. Okay, back. We have the green finance, and because you have a doctor in finance, it's your part.
Okay, here the message is as follows. If you have some idle money left and want to search for green investment opportunities, then you can check out this website, find where you can find green bonds and so on. And you can also see on this map the biggest countries or regions or organizations that issue this kind of financial products. And interestingly, it's the US, and then we are in China. China also is one of the biggest countries or regions that issue these kind of green finance tools. Okay, now what is our last point that we have?
We have the air quality index, and there's a map of the world here. Wait, it must load a bit. Okay, on the left you can see the cities in the world ranked, how much air pollution there is in the air above, and you can see, so this is live, really live, and the worst city in the world from the air pollution is Wuhan in China.
Okay, so that's at the moment. So these are live data, and if you want to see more, then you can check out this map and see where it might be dangerous for you.
Because I have asthma, and as you can see in China and North Africa, the air is still very bad. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to our
classroom. And so the first teacher told us more about rules and regulations, and the second about the current status of our planet. Now we go to teacher 3, and let's talk with him. So this is a teacher which is actually in the normal sustainable city world. So you can also make lessons. So there are 6 lessons, and let's choose lesson 3, green building. Let's simply click on this button, lesson 3, and then you can see some sparkles. And we must follow those sparkles. Okay, let's go there. Then I think there. Over the street. Run a bit. Because we're in a hurry. And yeah. You can see the arrow pointing on him. So let's talk with him. Heat, a large space that takes quite a lot of energy to heat, and our goal with every new building is to reduce how much energy it takes from the pool of resources that we all share. This new building is heated by a network of pipes that exist between the walls and floors.
Okay, so that's quite nice to hear this in English and read in English. But now I'm German. Can you help me understanding this in German?
Yes, we have the immersive reader, like which you maybe know from other Microsoft products. And then you can either hear it loud.
A large space takes quite a lot of energy to heat, and our goal with...
Or you can translate it. Wait. Okay, so this is German.
Okay, so even for people who do not speak the language, you can get some help. Okay, please continue with your German.
Yeah. So read that. Okay, next teacher. Geothermal. In the winter, the ground temperature is warmer than the air up here. In the summer, the ground temperature is cooler than the air up here. Inside the pipe, a fast-moving liquid made from water and glycol that carry the desired temperatures up into the building. Yeah.
Okay, let's then go on. So we learned something?
Yeah. Let's some new sparkles. Let's follow them. Okay, let's go here, then there, then there. Okay, there. We must go the stairs up. Next teacher. Wonderful stairway. This building stairway is surrounded by glass and made from beautiful materials so that you can't resist climbing them. The views from the stairs will provide a look out into the town below. The more people that use the stairs, the less energy is consumed by the elevator. Okay.
So you see this everywhere. Taking the stairs is always something good for the environment. So let's take the stairs and continue.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the elevator. We don't want to go with the elevator. Let's go with the wonderful stairway. Okay, and then we have our next teacher. Grey water system. All the water from the sinks go into the building's grey water system. It travels down into a tank in the basement where all the grey water is collected. Then it is pumped up to the roof to be drip fed into a clever filtering device. Hop in to find out more.
Okay, so I think after this fourth teacher, that's sufficient for our sustainability learning. You can continue like that. But now let's go back and make some documentations and photos, David.
Yeah, okay.
Because we have to document what we learned.
Yes. So let's go down and let's go back. I think it was that way. Yeah, I think so. Oh, let's go here. There are two teachers from beginning.
Yeah, maybe make a photo from here.
Okay, wait. Keys. Yeah. Okay, now we have our book and quill, and let's write something. So let's insert that picture. And it's really down here. There it is, our picture. Okay, and let's write something, something I have learned. And let's close this and go back. So let's go back.
So now we go back to the teacher in the school, right?
Yes. Okay, now we must go there. Was it left or right? I think left. Yeah, left. Okay. Now we must go to our assistant. To submit a lesson assignment, sign and export is download your book in the format first name, underline, lesson ID, and then press the submit lesson button. To check your progress, click the respective button below. Okay, let's sign and export our book. I think it was that. Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah. Okay. Let's sign. David. Oh, wait. Where's the underline?
Let me have you. Yes, underline. Let me type it for you. So lesson 3x or 3. No, let's make x.
Yeah, X. So let's sign and close it and export it. Let's.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, wait.
We have to delete here something from the download section. So we will just remove everything from here so that we can later on find this easily. And now you see here, this is the file name. I think there was some issue here. Let's cancel this again and say export. Yeah, now you see the correct name and we can save it.
Yeah, save it. Okay, now we can submit our lesson to the assistant. And then there's again a link behind it which goes to the Power App.
Yeah, there's a wrong site here going up. Let me open this website because it remembers always the last website where we opened or closed things. So let's try to submit the lesson again because the Power App is linked to a specific user. This one here, and then you can see the Power App opening hopefully.
And opened. And now you can see some thank you words, and they say that they inform the sustainable manager to evaluate my work.
Okay, so now I play the role of the teacher. So now the idea is that after the person who has to go through the different lections, that the teacher has to evaluate what they submitted. And the way how we do that is this teacher will get an email with a link to a specific website where or OneDrive where this teacher can then take a look at the book, the notes and so on, and make his notes or assessment what he thinks about what has been done. So it should not take too long with that to arrive. We already tested this before. So while we are waiting for the email to arrive, we have here an example from a previous test run that shows you, okay, it has some information about a document library and then a second app where you have to make the evaluation. This with the email might take a while depending on the flow that is running, because behind the scenes when you open this website there is an robotic process automation flow running based on the visible action, and then once this flow is running, sooner or later an email will arrive here, and me as a teacher, I can then come here and open the document library. In this document library we will see sooner or later the last lecture that David submitted. So you can see here is already 3A and B. That's what we did before. And as a teacher, I can just come here, have a look at these documents of these books and the work that has been done, and then make my assessment. So you can see we also did some pictures. We have something written down just as an example. And once I'm happy as a teacher with this evaluation, then I can go into the second step. This might take a while. System is a bit slow here because we might need a bit too many resources. So let's wait here a second. And I think maybe we close those websites because they make our system a bit slow. And now let's wait here. Okay, so the second thing that we wanted to show is this app. And in this app, the teacher makes the assessment of how David or somebody else was doing in terms of sustainability learning. So it's a simple model-driven, it's a Canvas app. It's a Canvas app, and you can see you have here different students. And as a teacher, I can come here and say, okay, lesson 3 is closed, lesson 5 would be open, and so on. So you can just say, okay, whether something was finished or not. So we can say maybe lesson 2 is still open, lesson 3 is closed, and lesson 1 is closed. Yeah. So if I'm doing this evaluation, then my job as a teacher is basically done. Yeah. There's nothing else I have to do. And now the student can come again into the classroom and check out how he's doing, what else he has to learn. And so back over to you, David.
Yes, so let's check the progress. Okay, so select your user, Ludwig. So you just made lesson 1. So you must go on fighting for the climate change against it. And you must go on learning about sustainability. I think my cousin Tim has everything complete. Tim, yeah, he has everything complete. Then the picture changes, and now there stands great. You completed all lessons. Now learn about e-liability accounting, and you make the e-liability accounting. So I give over to you.
Yeah, okay. So can you go back to the classroom?
Yes.
And let's close this one. So the last teacher is actually the one that teaches you about e-liability. I prepared this in form of a presentation, and I will quickly pause the video, open this presentation, and then we continue again. Please stop this. Okay, here's our last part on the e-liability approach and why you might consider using this. So what is the problem? The problem is the way how we currently measure and report greenhouse gas emissions is maybe not the right one. So before we talked about the greenhouse gas protocol, and what some of you might know are the different scopes. So we have scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, different ways how we classify and measure greenhouse gas emissions. The problem with this measurement is basically stated here on the left hand side. I highlighted this for you because the biggest problem is that our company that follows this greenhouse gas reporting has to incorporate sources of emissions that are not owned or controlled by our company, but for example by our customer. So let's say you are selling cars, then you would be responsible for something that happens with your cars at the customer side, which is very difficult or basically impossible to measure and report on because you don't know exactly what your customer is doing with the car. And another problem is, because many of you have heard about this scope 1, 2 and 3 emissions, that the biggest part is scope 3 emissions. That's what you can see from the graphic here. And scope 3 emissions, if they are the biggest part, then they allow you with this big fraction to cook the books. That's what the accountants say. So if you are basically using estimates, using best guesses how to measure scope 3 emissions, then you can basically generate any result that you want. And in accounting terms, it's called cooking the books or the accounts. So here again, what does not really work is this measurement of greenhouse gas emissions with what you know from your project. So if you implement a CRM project, a ERP project, something around Power Platform, you typically follow business processes. And these two approaches, they are not really aligned, and therefore it's so hard to measure them. So now, what could be a solution? The e-liability approach. And I will just give you a highlight of this approach. What does it mean? So let's assume we are a car producer, and a car producer needs steel for making the car. So this one is here the mining of the iron ore. Then after the iron ore is mined, it will be shipped maybe to Europe, to our company, and from our company we sell it to a merchant, and finally it ends up with the customer using our car. And at each stage of this supply chain, you can measure greenhouse gases, but only those that apply to your specific element in the supply chain. So the mining company reports only the emissions from the mining area. The shipping company measures only one from the shipping company, but it gets a charge of the vendor or supplier before. So the whole thing that is shown here works like a value-added tax system, so that at the end the customer can see what is the carbon footprint of the car produced. And at each stage in the supply chain, you can see and identify how many greenhouse gas emissions are accumulated until your stage. So what are advantages of this approach? It's simple, accurate, verifiable. It is real time. And there is no double counting of emissions. And the double counting is a problem of the greenhouse gas protocol, because it's not really clear who is measuring what. Many times it comes to double accounting. And another advantage, it's based on proven accounting concepts. But that's also the disadvantage. Why? Because not many people like and know accounting, and they're afraid about it. Now let's have a quick look at how this is implemented in practice. So how does it work exactly? I have a simple example for you. In this example, we use a trading company. There's no production. We buy and sell goods, so there's simple process. We look at 2 periods, and we do not make T account illustrations to keep it as simple as possible. Again, we look at 2 companies, our company and our customer, to keep it as simple as possible, so that you can understand the process. So now, if we look at our company, that is indicated by this yellow square, then one of the things we have to do is we need to buy the trading goods. And in accounting, you debit here items or inventory, and you credit accounts payable. That's what every accountant knows. And then in addition, you make a second entry for the e-liability. Here on the right hand side, it's a liability, therefore it's credit. And then you have a bridging account. And the same applies if you buy energy or if you buy or sell the goods. Now, with this approach, you can use your standard accounting tools and reports to calculate the greenhouse gas emissions that you submit and hand over to your customer, and the ones that are still in your warehouse. Okay, and you can also calculate averages. Now, if you look at our customer, what does it mean for our customer? Our customer buys the products from us, 800 pieces in this case. It debits inventory and credits accounts payable, but now he gets these emissions from us and records it in his books. And the same happens if our customer buys electricity or energy for his warehouse. And if our customer sells the product again, then the e-liability is reduced. So that's the basic principle. The next slide will give you an idea of the second period, we can just skip that because it's the same principle. So let's quickly go over that to see the whole concept here. So on top, we have our company in the first and the second period. And what you know from accounting is the closing period in period 1 is the opening period, is the opening balance in period 2, and so on. So it's an accounting principle. And the same applies to our customer, where the closing balance equals the opening balance. Huh? But the main difference now here is that the emissions from one stage in the supply chain are handed over to the other one. So we hand over these 4,800 kilos CO2 emissions to our customer in each period. So that's the basic approach of this e-liability concept. Yeah, here again, the graphics for you to remember. And yeah, our focus was on our company and our customer. So now if you want to implement this in your ERP system, we thought about different options. One option might be you use the Power Platform and then feed different companies or systems. The blue one is your ERP system, the one that you already use. Yeah? And the second one could be a special company inside of your ERP system where you track this. Yeah? Would be one option. Disadvantage is you have two different systems and maybe the people only want to work in their ERP, what they're used to. So there might be a second option where you can say, okay, people just do what they have done in the past, and then on top, you export data, prepare them in the Power Platform, and then you feed them into an ERP system for the e-liability accounting. So these are just some options, and I think you might know more of them. So as a summary, the e-liability concept is an ERP and accounting based approach, which allows you to use what you already have. It's simple, accurate, verifiable. There's no double accounting, and that's the important thing here compared to the greenhouse gas protocol. It works like a VAT system that you have basically everywhere in the world, and it gives you real-time insights. Now the big question is, how can we make this work? The key is, of course, getting the CO2 emissions from your business partners. And the question is this realistic? Can you expect from your business partners, especially from your vendors, to get this data? My opinion is yes. Why? Because most companies already calculate their direct emissions, their scope 1 and 2 emissions, and that's what's needed for this approach. Okay, so that's the part about this greenhouse gas protocol that we wanted to share with you. Now let's go back to our Minecraft presentation to close this demo.
Okay, so now this is the end of our presentation. And are there any questions? No? Then thank you for your attention. You can write us on this website or on this email. So again, thank you and bye.